it's Liz Yuille from Old Stables Crafts. I'm a Stampin' Up demonstrator based in the UK. Thank you very much for joining me again today. Today I have got this little bag to show you. I'm using the Magnolia Lane paper for this, and it's one of those wonderful bags that folds flat. So if you want to make lots of them, you can, and they won't take up any space. And then it just all folds up, and this then ties in a bow, and you've got a little handle. Now, I wouldn't put anything too heavy in here, but it will take a reasonable amount of bits and pieces. You could either have something that's more upright in here, or you can fill the space in the middle. But I thought it was a really cute bag. There's almost no cutting. There's a little bit of sticking, but almost no cutting. It's brilliant. It's really easy. So I thought I'd show you how I made this. I'm going to use Garden Lane paper. Now, both of these papers are in the buy 3 get a 4th free deal that's on at the moment. That runs for the whole of September. So now's the moment to stock up on all of your favourite annual catalogue papers. They're not all included, but there are quite a lot, and I've got a list of those over on my website, so you can take a look. So let me show you how I made it. It is very easy. I'm going to grab my scoreboard. So we start with a piece of paper that is 10 inches by 12 inches. So you just have to cut 2 inches off, which is always a good place to start with these things. So with the 12 inch at the top, you're going to score at, why am I starting over there? Who knows? You're going to start at 1/2 inch. Now you do want a pattern that doesn't have an up and a down, so if it's directional, that's not going to work. You want one that isn't directional. So 1/2 inch, and then, oh, I've forgotten what my next measurement is. My next measurement is 5, of course it is. Brain dangerous. So 5, 7 and 11.5. And then we'll turn it round, and we're going at 2, which is why I should have known that that was 5. We're going at 2 and at 8. And that is all the scoring we have to do here. But we do want to mark, I'm going to just twizzle this round again, we want to mark our midpoint here, so it's 6 inches, and our midpoint here. So on the long edge, you want to know where that middle point is. Okay. Pop my scoreboard away, and I'm going to crease all of the lines that I have scored. If I could find my bone folder, there we are, buried under my snips. Just you wait, it'll be my snips I can't find next. So we're burnishing there. We've got our 1/2 inch. Oops, maybe I'll do that the other way up. 1/2 inch there, 1/2 inch at this end, and there, and there. Right, okay, so now we've got those in so that we can sort of see them reasonably well. I'm going to bring back in my scoring tool, find the point where these two cross, and that mark we made at the 6 inch mark, and we're going to mark that, do the same again. It's probably quite a busy pattern for you to see exactly what I'm doing, but you get the drift, I'm sure. Needless to say, I will have all of the measurements over on my website, and there's a link to that immediately below in the description bar. It's a funny looking link, it's sort of gobbledygook, but it's the short link, otherwise you have a very, very, very long link. So don't be worried that it's a bit of gobbledygook. Okay, so those are those marks. Now we're folding back on those lines. On both sides. we go. And then what you're going to do is fold in, and then you're going to take this score line here and fold it against this score line here, keeping that point as sharp as you can make it. So let me pop that in and then I can show you what I've done. Of course, trying to work around the camera is not necessarily the easiest thing in the world. Come on. See, this worked perfectly before the camera went on. So line up those marks and then just press that so we end up with this diagonal here. And when I've done all of them, I'll go back in and I will reinforce them with my bone folder. So again, I'm bringing this score line here up to the fold, so score line to score line, and then press inside. And then again over here, fold that in and bring score line to score line. And get them as lined up as you can, and then reinforce that fold, and again fold that in, score line to score line, and reinforce that fold. And then we can come in and get our bone folder and get right in there and give it a nice crisp fold line. Do that on all of the marks. Unfortunately, I can't really show you the inside of that because this bit wants to flip up. Can you see? Actually, more or less, yes. So I'm just reinforcing that line and then again reinforcing that one. Okay, so that's all of our scoring done. Now we do need to cut away a tiny bit. We're going to cut away this little rectangle here and just wedge very slightly into the half-inch piece, just so that it sits neatly. I'm actually going to just trim that at a very slight angle. So say it's a very, very slight angle. So wedge and then a slight angle. I don't want to cut away too much, but just enough so that it sits nice and flat when we fold it all in. And wedge, and then again wedge and trim at a slight angle. Okay, right. Now we need to put some holes in because we got got the holes for the handle and then a hole for the bit in the middle where we're going to actually feed something through. So I'm going to bring in my ruler again, and I'm going to, let's see, well no, I'll do it on this side because it's a lighter side so you'll see it, hopefully. So I'm going to mark a line there, and then I'm going to come in about 1.5 inches each end for my handle. The handle is not completely functional. As I say, I wouldn't put anything too heavy in because it is only a piece of ribbon through a hole, and I'll explain that a bit more in a moment because I'm not even tying knots. So we want to line up our ends and make sure that you are actually properly lined up because you have now wedged away some of your pieces. Get those lined up, and then this is the retired 1/8 inch hole punch, but any small hole punch will do. And then right on the crease you want to punch, and you want to go through both layers, and you want it so that when you open this up it's actually going to be a semicircle. So what do I mean by that? I mean that. Can you see that that's a semicircle? So you're going right on that crease. Gosh, and we're at 10 minutes already. Okay, so let us get our ribbon. Now you want about 9 or 10 inches of ribbon. I'm going to use the mint macaron textile ribbon for my handles. So that's 9 inches. So if I fold that in half, grab my snips and cut, and then hold those two ends together and cut the middle. Those handles should be the same length. And then I'm going to want a couple of bits of the polka dot trim, and this is the Whisper White, which is the one that carried over. And these are going to be for tying. I'll probably only tie a knot with these because it is very, very flimsy. So again, I'm just taking a bit. That's an unscientific bit. Right, okay, so these are coming in the middle hole. So you want to feed, come on, thank you. One end in there, and one end in here. And then you can pull them back so that they are roughly the same length. And you don't want too much poking out. You only really want about ½ an inch here because you're going to use this to encase it. And this ribbon won't fray because of the way it's made. It won't fray, so you haven't got to worry too much. So I'm going to grab my tear and tape and just take a couple of short pieces, and those I'm going to stick just below the hole, and then pull that up and stick my ribbon down, and do the same over here. So pop it just below the hole, make sure it's well down, pull up and pop my ribbon down. Now you don't want a really bulky ribbon because you are going to encase it with this piece of paper. And pop one end of your mint macaron and bring it round. And you want this to be not twisted, or indeed you don't want it to be twisted. Might be grammatically slightly more correct. So if you've got a twist in it, that's it. Okay, and then again, we want, actually I've got a small piece of tear and tape here, so I might as well use that up. So let's tear 4 pieces, because I'm going to need them on the other side as well. Pop one there, one there. And I am deliberately going underneath the ribbon, so I'm going onto the bag rather than the flap, because I'm going to then have even more tear and tape on top, which gives a better chance of it not coming adrift, because you're sealing the ribbon between 2 layers of tear and tape. It's almost like I had it planned. And again, we want that to be as far up as possible, and then do the same thing again for the other side. And then we're almost done making our bag, and we've just got to do a tiny weeny bit of stamping and we'll be done. I'm going to use the same stamp set, which is the Magnolia Blooms. This is on in the beginner brochure. It's a really nice little set to get. It's got different sentiments to the big Magnolia set. So you're not doubling up on anything. It's the same font, but different sentiments, which is great. Oh, I got that twisted. That's, let's see, that's flat and round. No, that's right. Good. Okay, so then we just need a piece of tear and tape. Actually, I need to put that in. So I need a piece of tear and tape there, and a piece of tear and tape there, and then a long piece. Got an angle, so I might as well make the most of my angle. Long piece there, and then when that folds over, that will encase the ribbon we've already got. Another piece here, on our flap and here. Okay, so take that off. So we're going to take the flapped bits off first because we're going to fold those in before we fold the narrow flap down. So that's coming in, that's coming in, so that's already caught the mint macaron once. And then if we take this piece off and this piece off, we can then pop those in and you get a nice neat finish. And you get even more of your adhesive trapping that ribbon, and then pop those together and tie these either in a bow or a knot. Let's flop those down, that's probably easier. You don't want to go, oh, don't do that. You do not want your handle to be in the way. You want your handle out of the way. Actually, I can probably tie a bow in this. I've got enough. So there's a pretty bow on the top and then our handle. And then obviously we want to do something for the outside as a decoration, but see how that's beautifully together and you can get all your bits in there. And then for this one, I used the largest of the stitched shapes and the flower, and then I used blends and some of these gems that are in the petal pink. For this one I am going to grab myself a scrap of Whisper White, which would have been quite useful to have got out in advance. Let me grab my Whisper White. Can't believe I haven't got a scrap. That will do, she says, famous last words. Actually, no. Okay, I will find a small piece of Whisper White from my matte collection. There we go. Right, so I'm going to use the Happy Birthday, and that's going to fit nicely in there. And because we're using Garden Lane paper rather than the Magnolia Lane paper, I'm going to use Mossy Meadow ink because that's the dark green that's in the background of the paper. And then just ink that up. Make sure it's nicely inked. And stamp. And then while that's taking, I'll close my ink pad. And there we go. And I'm just going to run this through my Big Shot. And oh, there we go. Now if you wanted, you could add some pearls or some rhinestones or any of those good things. I have got some rhinestones here, and then if I grab the dark Mossy Meadow blend, I can colour, particularly if I use the other end, I can colour some of these to make Mossy Meadow rhinestones. Grab my take a pick, and we'll have one just there, I think, and then the other large one, whoops, we'll have just there, and then the small one we'll have just there. Get rid of that, grab a couple of dimensionals, or maybe a few more than a couple. Seem to have managed to pick up 4 at one go. Take the backings off. Grab our bag and pop that in the middle of our bag. Get rid of those bits, and there we go. 2 lovely fold flat bags using some of the designer series paper that is currently buy 3 get a 4th free. So I hope you enjoyed that. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. And as I say, all the measurements will be over on my website, which is linked immediately below. If you don't already subscribe to my channel and would like to know when I've posted a new video when you come to YouTube, then hit the subscribe button that's just there. And if you want a notification into your inbox, you can also hit the notification bell, and then you'll get an email when I've posted. I might see if I can tie a better bow than that before the photos. If you need any of the products, then please do hop over to my online store, which